Hey guys, my name is Matimeo, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming or Battlefield-related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. To get the formalities out of the way real quick, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below, or by sending me a Facebook and Twitter message. The first question for today comes from Lester, and it is, what do you think about one-shot kill for headshots? It only seems right. I would actually argue that that doesn't seem right at all, because while I understand where you're coming from, you're going for the realistic route, you get shot in the face in real life, you're not going to last very long. From a gameplay standpoint, and really just weapon balance, I feel like that would be pushing things a little bit too far. The one thing I will say about this, though, is that I would not be opposed if DICE decided to slightly increase the headshot damage of basically all of the weapons in the game. If you think about it, you pick up any gun except for the bolt-action rifles and the hand cannons, like the Magnum or the Rex pistols. If you're using an assault rifle and you're within 10 meters of your enemy, it requires 3 headshots to drop someone from 100% to 0. That seems a little bit excessive, and while I realized that half a second ago I was just talking about how you should not have realism come into play when you're talking about weapon balance or trying to design your game, because that opens up a whole different can of worms, I still think that having it, 3 bullets required to drop someone when all of those bullets are flying through an enemy's head takes away from the skillful part of getting into a firefight with someone. Like, in my eyes, I would like there to be a large reward, or maybe a little bit larger of a reward for getting those headshots on an enemy who maybe is just going for body shots the entire time. Like, that's a way of distinguishing an amazing player from just kind of your average Joe running around on the battlefield. And so one idea that I've heard bounced around a lot recently is, why not increase that headshot damage slightly, not a lot, from the normal 2 times multiplier that we've seen since the very beginning of Battlefield 4, and bumping it up to 2.25. Not a dramatic change or shift by any means, but essentially what this would accomplish is that if you were within about 15 meters of your enemy and you get 2 bullets into the dome of your target, they're gonna drop from 100% to 0 instead of the crazy 3 that it requires right now. If you think about it, this is exactly how things worked just a few short months ago. I'm sure all you guys remember that DICE decided to extend firefights. They wanted to make them last a little bit longer, and so they nerfed pretty much every single weapon in the game except for a select few. And maybe this is exactly the reason why they haven't done anything to the headshot multiplier. They want to make sure that fights last long. They don't want fights to end in just a few short bullets, and that's exactly what they were going for. And if that's the case, tip of the hat to them, they created the perfect system for that. But even still, I would like it if there was a little bit more incentive or reward for getting those headshots. There already is a reward. Like, don't get me wrong, I understand that there is that incentive already there, but I would not be opposed if they wanted to take it a step further. That would further distinguish the amazing players from just your average Joes, but it would also give you something to strive for. It would give you something to seek after to improve your play, so that every single encounter that you come across, you're always going for that headshot multiplier to come out of that alive. I mean, how awesome does it feel to win a firefight when you're down, you're already at 50% health, and you're able to come out of it alive because you were able to go for that headshot? I always love it, and I'm sure everyone out there also enjoys those moments, and it would just be more likely if that system was in place. The next question for today comes from Joshua, and it is, what do you think of the stationary turrets in Battlefield 4? I don't really understand why they're really even in the game, because while a couple of them can be useful, actually I would say that the tow missiles, if you're not playing as the engineer class, you're running around as the assault on Golmud railways, for example, they can add some tactical value. They can add some benefit because, of course, you have no way of taking or doing any damage to a tank. You have some way of taking them out. Yes, it leaves you vulnerable, but you got that at your disposal. Then there is the 50 cal machine gun. I cannot remember the last time I got a kill with this, let alone the last time I died to someone using the 50 cal. And what it really comes down to is mostly they're in terrible positions. They're never in a tactical area on the map, but also their damage is atrocious. I remember back in Bad Company 2 that while they were clearly not overpowered, as long as you knew how to use the stationary turrets appropriately and in the right situations, they could devastate the enemy team. If you were on offense, they were phenomenal at defending the MCOMs. Like if the enemy was not using their snipers or their engineers with their rockets at the right time, if you got lucky and they ignored you for a couple of seconds, you could just rain death down upon their entire team and destroy everyone. It was amazing. Does that sound like the way it works in Battlefield 4? Because that's definitely not the experience that I have had over the last year. And maybe this is just a design philosophy on the part of DICE. Maybe they just simply don't want people to jump into these as often they did in the past. But from my standpoint, I think that it actually adds more value for these things to be an asset on your team, to be something that is somewhat sought after and a useful thing to use on the battlefield. If you think about it, if you are playing on a very infantry-focused map, or you are playing on Rush, where there isn't a lot of vehicles that you need to take care of, if you like to play as the engineer, you know that there isn't really a whole lot of use for your gadgets. They kind of just fall by the wayside, and it really just comes down to your primary weapon. That kind of sucks. You would like there to be more of an incentive to use your gadgets or to play as the engineer on more of an infantry-focused game mode. But as soon as you have these turrets that become amazing, well, if they're in a 50 cal with that nice shield, well, now you are the perfect class to take care of that. This also transitions perfectly on over to the role of the recon class. Instead of just being a guy that's spotting and getting headshots on the enemy, you can also be that perfect class for taking care of people on these stationary turrets. I like this system because not only does it further define the role of all of the classes and simply just make certain classes feel more viable on particular game modes, but if you did decide to buff up the damage of some of these useful turrets, it would just, well, of course, just make them more viable on the battlefield, and then they would actually be an asset that people can take advantage of. They're already stationary. They're already a sitting duck for anyone that's looking in their area. Why not make them amazing? Like, they're already vulnerable. Why doesn't that vulnerability come with some serious firepower to back it up? And so while I think that there is a lot of potential there, simply because there isn't the firepower to really justify jumping into them, they don't really have a whole lot of use on the battlefield. They're basically props at this point, something that just kind of makes you feel like you're more on the battlefield, but doesn't really add any tactical value, which is a shame. The next question for today comes from Leonard, and it is, what do you think about giving the MAV the ability to laser designate vehicles? There is already the SOFLAM and the PLD, but no one uses them the way that they are supposed to be used. Well, it would definitely make the MAV flat out phenomenal, because personally, I already think that this is one of the best gadgets in the game. Like, as long as you know how to use it correctly, it is a phenomenal tool in the arsenal of the recon class. But if you also gave it the ability to laser designate vehicles, that would be overkill. Well, already it can spot, it can fly around, it acts as a motion sensor, so if any enemy runs under it while it's flying around, they're gonna be spotted on the mini-map. It can destroy every single gadget with a click of the button, and then the capabilities of laser designating things, God, that would be an amazing all-in-one kit or gadget for the recon. Like, that would just be flat out phenomenal. The problem with this, of course, though, and you mention it in your question, is that already few people use the PLD and the SOFLAM, and if they decided to go with this change, those two gadgets would go the way of the dinosaurs. Like, they would be flat out useless on the battlefield because the MAV would be better in every capacity. It would be the god gadget for the recon class. And so I don't know if that would be the best way at balancing out the gadgets. The one thing about it, though, is that I can pretty much guarantee if they did decide to do this, that every vehicle would be laser designated. It would be simple. You fly it up, you can hover, nothing can hide from you because you can fly up and down. Tanks are always gonna be locked on. Helicopters are gonna be easy to lock onto as well. And so if DICE wanted to further the teamwork between the recon and the engineer, this would be a very effective way to go about it. It might be blatantly overpowered because, like I said, you can't really hide from an MAV. It's flying around. It's gonna be very difficult to block that line of sight, and so plenty of rockets are gonna fly your way with that laser designated, so I don't don't know if that would necessarily be balanced, but it would be one way to promote the teamwork between those two classes. And so while there is a lot of potential there, I would not hold my breath. I can almost guarantee that this would never happen in Battlefield 4 because realistically, this would make the MAV way too powerful. All of the other two gadgets would be seriously just useless, and so I would be very surprised if they ever decided to do this. The next question for they is, what is your opinion about being able to be revived after getting killed on a dirt bike, a quad, jet ski, etc.? I don't approve of the fact that you can't be revived if you die on one of these transport vehicles since your body just simply falls on over. What do you think? I think that this is an engine-related issue. I could be wrong because I've never worked on the Frostbite engine. I've never worked on a video game, so I have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. But I think when you die in a vehicle, the game registers that you are a vehicle or you're still in it, and so you're no longer revivable. I think that's what's going on. Even though you clearly see the soldier's body fall on over, the body is on the ground, because they were in the vehicle, it still thinks that you're in the vehicle, and that's the reason why we run into the problem. I don't know if this is something that DICE can just flip a switch on and automatically it will become no longer a problem. I think it might be like hard-coded into the engine. If they're able to do it, fantastic. I think that would be a good addition into the game. I don't see how that would negatively impact anything, but my gut is telling me that if they could have done this, they would have done it a long time ago, and it leads me to believe that it is part of the engine and it would take a lot of time to find a workaround. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's Sunday Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. Once again, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below or by sending me a Facebook and Twitter message. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.